Hello everyone, what's going on? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Brandon, a neuroscience and immunology student at the University of Toronto, and this is part 2 of my 3-part first year recap at UofT. And so if you haven't already, check out the first part. It talks about transitioning to university, making friends, and all that good stuff. So before you watch this video, make sure to check that out. Part 3 comes out on Monday at 4 p.m, so stay tuned for that. Again, if you're new, I'll be really happy if you chose to subscribe to the channel, as well as clicking that notification bell so you don't miss any of my future videos. And so for this video, for part 2 of this first year retrospective, I'm going to be talking about 5 things. My courses, my lectures and what they're like, practicals, my workload, and 5th, comparing and contrasting my first semester and second. So my courses. So basically I took a full course load for first and second semester, which is 5 courses per semester. And the first semester I took biochem, psych, calc, and physics. Second semester I took biochem, physics, calc, and stats. And GPA reveal on Monday's video, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Basically in all my courses I found that they were very general, very broad, introducing a bunch of different topics. A little narrower than high school, but also a little broader in the sense that, like for biology, for example, it diversified into a wide range of subjects and topics. And I think second, third, fourth year, that's when it really starts to narrow down and you start learning about what your program is about. And I think my best friend through all my courses was the syllabus. I often found myself referring to it ever so often just to find out what's going to be taught in future lectures and going to be happening in practical tutorials, and it just really helped me stay on top of my work. So lectures. At U of T they offer lectures in 2 forms of delivery, which is in person as well as virtually. And a lot of times I had to switch between both of them depending on the courses and the professor who's teaching the course. And I think this really depends on you as a person and how well you're able to learn and absorb the material from your lectures. Of course there's pros and cons with each kind and each form of delivery, but I found that mainly people go virtually if either the speaker goes off tangent a lot, or their information that they talk about isn't that useful, or if they talk about a lot of things that are very important and it's very hard to keep up in lectures. Going to in-person is always the better option because you're actually physically there and it makes you more present and you're able to absorb information better. But I think it really just depends on you as a person and how you'd like to learn. So I have a couple of things to suggest to you that will make the most out of your lectures, and I'm going to be making a full in-depth video about that, but just briefly, it's going to be number 1, make sure you pre-read the material so you have a general idea of what's going on in your lectures beforehand, as well as making sure that your lectures do not involve participation marks. A lot of times people go to web option or virtual lectures and they forget or don't know that going to class actually gives you extra marks. And last and finally, make sure that you don't get distracted either by your friends or your devices and other things that may distract you from absorbing the content being taught in your lecture. So accompanying lectures, we often have things such as practicals and tutorials. And so tutorials are basically classroom sessions similar to high school where a TA teaches you and you gain a better understanding of the material. Now, most of this is going to be focused on practicals, which are basically labs. And some characteristics of practicals are that it's very time sensitive and often we're placed under a time crunch, and they can be broken up into either being independent or group work. And so chemistry labs, for example, we're used to having in high school, we have a lot of a group lab with like one Bunsen burner, one fume hood, and you basically do hands-on work in that sense. But in university, it's all independent. So everyone has their own fume hood, everyone's like working on their own thing, and it's very, very minimally instructive, and you're often expected to learn stuff and the lab procedures before going to the lab. And so there's a couple pros of going to practicals. Of course, it really helps your marks because it's really easy to do well in them if you just prepare and you just know what you're doing. Secondly, it helps you get a good relationship with TAs, and more on that in Monday's video about how that can help you. And third and finally, it really helps you just understand the material better. So here are a couple tips on how to be successful within your practicals. Be efficient with your time and work fast, just because a lot of times people don't finish their experiment in time. Secondly, develop a good relationship with your TA, and that could lead to a lot of opportunities in the future and possibly better grades. Thirdly, just prepare a lot. Make sure you know your stuff and know what you're doing before coming to the lab. and just, you know, have some fun. Just enjoy it, because this is really a good time to boost your marks and also just to gain some hands-on experience with the topic and, you know, what you're learning about in your lectures. So now, workload. I think this is one of the most common questions people ask when inquiring about university. And I just have to say, university is a whole lot more work than what you're used to in high school, and you're always expected to do something more. And I think this is not just even in your academics, it's also outside of school. Also, especially if you're in the life sciences field and want to pursue graduate studies, you're expected to be doing things such as doing research, extracurriculars, all these extra things that just add to what you have to do as a student and your work-life balance. And what the recommendation for what the university tells us is that for every 1 hour of class, whether it be lecture or lab, you have to do 3 hours of study. And that's quite a lot if you add up. Like, I had like 30, almost 20, 27 hours of class a week, so just do the math, and that's a lot of studying to do. But anyways, there's a lot of studying, there's always something to do, lots of readings to catch up on. And let me just tell you, there's a couple like downfalls of the workload. And basically, number one, people just forget what's going on. They just get overwhelmed, and they like just forget like when stuff are due. And of course, with limited assessments in university, that's often very costly to their GPA. Secondly, a lot of people face this thing called burnout, which is basically like lack of motivation to study. They get so overwhelmed by all the pressures of whatever their extracurriculars are, their school. So make sure you find a balance and get a good group of friends to help sustain you through all that stuff. Thirdly, I think a lot of people suffer from like academically in terms of their grades because of the workload. And I think that's what I mentioned before, time management is such an important skill that everyone needs to develop. That's why I'll be dedicating a whole video to it in the coming week or so. So basically, I just want to finish off with a summary and also with my first semester versus second semester conclusions. And so in this video, we talked about courses and lectures, practicals, and just my workload in general. So courses, of course, in first year, you're going to have to expect that's going to be more general. Lectures, there's two ways to get it, virtually or in person. You have to figure out what's best for you. Practicals, tutorials, make sure you're just prepared and you know what's going on. And the workload, it's going to be tough, but don't worry, stay tuned for upcoming videos, and that will help you prepare for that and how to handle that stress. And so just comparing my first semester to my second semester of my first year, I really found that second semester I was way more able to handle everything. My time management was really good. I think I was staying organized, and I think that just all comes with experience, and hopefully I'll be able to share what I've went through in my first semester to help you prevent getting falling behind and like getting stuck on certain things that can be avoided. Alright, so that finishes up part 2 of my 3-part first year U of T retrospective. So again, if you haven't already, part 1 is down in the description below. Part 3 comes out on Monday at 4 p.m. so stay tuned for that. Again, if you haven't had the chance to message me with any questions, all my contacts are in the description below, or you can just leave them in the comments. If you like this video and this helped you, please consider liking this video, as well as sharing it to some of your friends who are maybe like confused on what to expect with university in general. Again, 21 things that I wish I knew about U of T is up there, so I highly recommend that you guys check out that video. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, continue to stay happy, and I'll see you guys all on Monday at 4 p.m. for part 3. See you there.